Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of the Triple Threat Show. Today, I am here alone at the studio. Hayden Raymer, one of our co-hosts here, will be here eventually, but for now, we have a Triple Threat Show first. A solo show. I'm very excited to kick this off today. We have had a pretty big week in sports. It was the end of what, for me personally, is the greatest time in all of in the sports calendar. You know, you have all four of the major American sports. You have baseball. World Series ended this week. You know, we have baseball playoffs. One of the most incredible times to be watching baseball. Always exciting. Hockey is just starting. Basketball is just starting. The NBA and the NHL just kicking into full swing. Speaking of the NBA, the in-season tournament, the first ever one of those, started last night. We'll get into that a little bit. As well as the NFL, always king here. Mid-season, trade deadline just ended. This might be, this week, the first week in November, the last week of October, might be the greatest sporting week on the entire calendar, at least in the United States, and at least for me personally, not to mention all these other college sports that are just going on. Look, we have a great show today. I want to start it off here with a little bit of the NBA play-in tournament that started yesterday. There's been a lot of mixed feelings on this throughout the general public. Just want to throw it out there. It was a lot of fun last night. I know it was just normal basketball for now. We're in the middle of that round-robin tournament, but I think that this could actually be something positive. I know there's a lot of mixed reactions here, but the biggest complaint with the NBA always has been just the players aren't playing. And you can understand why, right? These games, they honestly don't matter, most of them, for the star players, right? You know, at the beginning of the season, when you're in the NBA, generally, you know, there's always those fringe, those play-in teams that are, you know, not sure if they're going to make the playoffs, and there's always that one or two surprises. But in general, if you are a team with a couple stars, you are basically guaranteed a playoff spot. So this is why this load management thing has been such a huge issue in the NBA. I mean, you can't really do it as much in any of the other sports. You can do it in baseball a little bit because of how long that season is, but it's kind of built in. Now, the best way to fix this is just to reduce the number of games. But the NBA is a business. That's never going to happen. They're never going to reduce the number of games that they're going to play. It's just not good for business. So, what they do instead is they make these little incentives. Excuse me, Hayden is here. Give me 1 second. They do these little incentives here. Get these players going. And this year is kind of a test year to see if this works. This year kind of has to work. If it doesn't, the tournament is going to be treated like a joke a little bit. Alright, we're going to listen to some music. bullshitting.
So what?
I'll start bullshitting.
Okay.
Alright. Does Sarah make it?
I don't know what she did. I haven't checked out, but I drove her to get a car, and then so she can do some.
Nice.
She's on Constitution Avenue.
She do be marching then. That's the big street. No, it's a song. Right? Alright, and we are back. Sorry about that short little delay here. Hayden.
Yeah.
Is here.
I'm loud.
Yeah, Hayden's loud.
My bad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing great. Welcome in. I was just talking about how this week was these last 2 weeks, basically. Greatest time in North American sports.
Yeah, I mean, kinda.
You got all 4 sports going on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Got baseball, World Series.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
We got NBA. They just started their in-season tournament for the first time.
Yeah, those courts are ugly.
They are. They're all the same, and they're all
different.
And then you have the NFL mid-season trade deadline.
Yep. Nothing happened.
Stuff happens.
Nothing happened.
And of course, you have the NHL going on as well. All these seasons are getting into full swing. Most exciting time to be a sport fan right now.
Well, not right now. Yeah, now that it's over.
This last week.
2 weeks ago, the best time to be a sports fan. Yeah. Where do you want to start, Jeremy?
I want to start with the World Series here.
Okay.
We always like to start with championships. Hayden, the Texas Rangers won their first ever World Series.
Yeah, they did.
First time. There's now, 5 teams left that haven't won one?
I believe so, yes. Sounds about right. And Mariners, Rays, Rockies are the big 3. Can't really remember the other ones off the top of my head.
Yeah, let's go down here. Let's just break down this. They obviously at the beginning they were hot to start this season, right? And they went through a real big slump that had a lot of people thinking they weren't even going to make the playoffs.
We're talking about the Rangers.
We're talking about the Rangers.
Yeah, I feel like we should specify that, but...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're all good.
The Texas Rangers, the World Series champions.
Yes.
What turned around there after that slump? What made them snap out of it?
They hit the ball.
That's it?
Yep. I mean, Corey Seager got hot at, the perfect time. He was, the hottest hitter on the planet during that World Series. Michael Semien, just Michael Semien. He's going to be there every single day and, be annoying. He's just, play baseball. They played it better than the Diamondbacks. I feel like they just kind of outmatched them throughout this World Series, which was a shame. You talk about, I believe it was game 3. They were down 11-0 for the entire game, except for the last 2 innings.
Yeah.
11-1, my bad.
Oh wow.
But it's just the Rangers played a much better baseball. They're a veteran-proven team. Scherzer's won a ring. Bochy's got his 4th ring now. Now his World Series, he had 3 prior with the Giants. Corey Seager's been in the playoffs a ton of times. Simeon's been in there a few times with the A's, never deep runs. He's been in the playoffs. I don't remember exactly timeline-wise what lines up, but Nathaniel Lowe's been there. They just have the kind of that experienced team, and the Diamondbacks are like this up-and-coming team. Didn't really have a fourth starter, which kind of, makes it hard to win baseball games, but, it's all good.
Yeah, no, the Diamondbacks, I feel like they just kind of ran out of gas.
Yeah.
They had to go through a gauntlet to get there.
Yeah.
To face 100-win Dodger team. Had to face
the Brewers.
The Brewers. Great pitching on that team.
Yeah.
Which they just kind of shrugged off like it was nothing. And then they had to face the Phillies with that crowd in Philly, win Game 6 and 7 in Philly to even get here.
Yeah.
They had to run the gauntlet. So, crazy run by them, first of all. That's a young team. There's obviously no guarantees that they'll be back.
Yeah, I mean,
but they weren't even supposed to. They're ahead of where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at like the ages and how much service time a lot of these players have, Corbin Carroll, he's already gotten his big payday, but he was a rookie this year. Gabriel Moreno, their starting catcher, was a rookie this year. Alec Thomas, who was either a center fielder or like a fourth outfielder. He kind of was like more of a platoon guy. A rookie. Geraldo Perdomo, the shortstop. I don't think he's a rookie, but he hasn't been in the league very long. I mean, they're veteran-proven guys. Christian Walker, Tom Marte, Longoria, who he hasn't really had a whole lot of playoff experience.
Did he win the World Series with the Rays?
He made the World Series with the Rays.
That's right.
Yeah, they didn't win it because they were one of the 5 teams to have it won a World Series. It's just like I said, it's just like kind of like that veteran team. Both the Rangers and the Diamondbacks didn't necessarily have that experience from their stars. They had those supplementary pieces that had experience, but I don't think the Diamondbacks are looking at Christian Walker to carry their offense. They're looking at Corbin Carroll, Gabriel Moreno, Tom Marte, who like I said, don't have that much experience.
Speaking of Ketel Marte there, he just did something that's never been done before.
The baseball, a lot of games in a row.
He had a hit in every single playoff game.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
I believe his streak is currently at 20.
No.
It was at 19 last I looked. I thought he had one more game.
No, he played a bunch more games after that.
Streak's still going, is the main point of this.
Okay.
I think. I'm like 90% sure he got a hit in game 5. I should have known this. That's a shame. Game 5. No hit. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's where he lost it. But he set a new MLB record for consecutive hits in postseason games. 20 games. Which the previous record, I believe, was 16. And the even crazier part about that is those were the first 20 games of his postseason career.
Yeah.
So,
he's a very good baseball player. I think it was 2019. Yeah, this is just off the top of the brain. Where he had that run where he looked like he was going to be like an MVP candidate for years to come. He signed his big extension. I think it was 2019 when it was...
He was 2018 or 2019.
He was like MVP number 5, I think. Where he had like a bad first half, and in that second half, he was just like the best player in baseball. Because if you remember that MVP race very well, Christian Yelich was like a lock, and then he, at least in my opinion, fractured his knee. Cody Bellinger had like the greatest 2 months ever, and then was just like solid the rest of the year, and nobody else really kind of stepped up. Marte tried, but it's all good. He wasn't in the commercial between the two, so the MVP voters forgot about him.
That's a shame.
Hate when that happens. That was a funny commercial, though.
The Dairy Queen one?
I don't know if it was Derek. It was the one where Bellinger and Yelich were like one upping each other. I'll send it to you after. It's a good commercial. You know, especially if like you're in the know of just you pay attention to MLB.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Yep. So, congratulations, Texas Rangers. Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Happy for Bochy and Jersey. Who else?
Corey Seager won his second
He won his first.
World Series MVP.
He won his first.
What?
Oh.
Mickey Mouse ring?
His Mickey Mouse
Does it
ring.
not count?
Doesn't count. Go for you. Yeah, well, I mean, he was, like I said, he was, like, the best hitter on the planet at this point in time, like, for the league.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. Alright. But yeah, congratulations, Texas Rangers. They needed to win it this year. I don't think they have a lot of years left.
What do you mean? They got the Grom coming off the IL next year.
He does that every year.
And then he'll go back on the IL next year. We got Jersey.
Isn't his contract up?
No. He has one more year. Mets are still paying most of it. Nats are paying him another $15 million just to make up for their other contract.
He's gonna be a rich man.
Yeah.
He's already a rich man.
Yeah, he's gonna be end his career as like one of like the richest starting pitchers. I mean, I think Clemens might have him beat, but I'd be shocked. They weren't handing out money like that back then.
No, they were not.
Is there anything else you want to talk about baseball wise?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay.
Not particularly.
Okay.
No.
I wasn't thinking you were talking about the Padres.
Oh,
broke.
They went broke?
Yeah, they had to take out a $50 million loan to pay bills.
I don't think they went broke.
They didn't. It was just always like the
I refuse to believe a sports team could go broke. And I think it's dumb that they got a loan. But
it's common.
I know.
I mean, also, you know, when it coincides with their TV deal falling through and them just shutting down TV service for forget who the actual, like the Diamond Sports Group stopped posting or stopped making their payments to broadcast their games. You know, I'm sure that definitely, you know, contributed to that.
Oh yeah.
Not talking about that though. Padres broke, haha. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some NFL trade deadline stuff. How the only thing that happened was the NFC East got like a lot worse, and that was it.
What were you watching?
What do you mean? What was I watching?
What trades were you seeing that I wasn't?
Am I getting the NFC and AFC mixed up again?
No, I think you got the right thing, but I mean, let's run through this.
Yeah, the NFC East just got worse. That was it. That was literally all that happened, though.
The Giants traded Leonard Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah. They got worse, you would say.
To the Seahawks. For a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick.
Yep.
Now, they were never going to be able to resign Leonard Williams, and it was a lost season. I love me some Leonard Williams. We're not talking about the NFC East at this point right now.
Mm-hmm.
What this is the Seahawks. If you look at the standings right now,
mm-hmm.
they're first place in that division.
Yeah.
With the 49ers in it.
Yeah.
They just go get this guy, Leonard Williams. Very, very, very good at run stopping. He is incredibly strong, creates great pressure up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins that division?
Who wins that division? That's a tough one. I mean, the 49ers are definitely vulnerable this year. Have not quite looked like, you know, the 49ers that we expected coming into the year. The Rams, I'm shocked they're 3-5. As in, like, I feel like they have the talent to be better than 3-5?
I don't understand this Rams team, right? Because
that doesn't make sense.
No, because one week they'll come out and they'll play like they're going to be able to beat any team, and then next week they're giving up 43 points.
Yeah. No, it doesn't really make sense. I think like offensively they have quite literally all the weapons right now. Matt Stafford, just throwing the ball too. We love some Matt Stafford on this program. I don't watch enough Rams football to know what is happening there, but I'm a little confused because I don't check the standings all that often. I actually only check it when we talk about the NFL on this show. And so I'm a little shocked that they're 3-5. And the Cardinals are bad. So if I had to guess, either the Seahawks or the 49ers.
Well, that was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it really comes down to because Geno has not been the Geno that he was last year. If he can get closer to that, I think they win. Just because they've been really good. But I mean, the 49ers are still the 49ers. They added, as we'll talk about here in a little bit, where the defense is going to, theoretically get better. And it's just kind of, can Brock Purdy kind of turn it around and can we, not lose 3 in a row again?
Yeah. No, it's tough. The Niners have a tough schedule coming up. And the Seahawks already being ahead in that division, I know they have the head-to-head loss. But losing 3 in a row, they need to come out strong after this bye week. This next game is very important for their season. I know they're a little banged up right now, but this bye could not have come at a more perfect time for them. And they needed a break. 3 in a row. After 5 convincing wins, to drop 3 in a row, especially the way that they've looked dropping these 3, not good. It's their defense that's been torched,
Yeah.
That defense that was the best in the league, or up there, has been torched, really, by, capable teams, but still, a little concerning there. Which is why, as you kind of alluded to here, they went on and they got former 2nd overall pick, Chase Young, for just a 3rd rounder. They already have Joey Bosa on the end. Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I apologize. They already have Nick Bosa on the end, reigning defensive player of the year. And you add Chase Young to the other side, a side that has not been able to generate much pressure. Which is why the 49ers haven't had that many sacks this season. Nick Bosa is getting pressure almost every snap, but there's nothing on the other side. So this should be able to help with a secondary that is probably the weakest point on that team, the secondary. And you don't even need a great secondary if your pass rush doesn't give the quarterback any time. Which is the philosophy here. Get to the quarterback and they can't beat you. So theoretically,
they should get better.
They should, but Chase Young has also been he's been healthy this season. He's been better. I think he has like 5 or 6 sacks right now. But he's been injury prone, and he hasn't lived up to that expectation.
Well, he also had like a hit piece come out on him like as soon as he got traded. I don't know if you saw that, where it's like apparently he wasn't like a team player, kind of playing out of stats type of thing. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how much stock to put into stuff like that. So, especially like right after they get traded, it's a little, it's 5 seconds.
5 seconds. And his teammate, Montez Sweat, or former teammate, I'd say, traded to the Bears.
Yeah, that one was a little weird.
Now, the Bears here, if you look at the standings,
I'm looking.
Not a very good team.
That would match.
Yeah. So, them being buyers at the deadline is something that they do solely to save the GM and head coach's job. This is not a move you make if you expect to be here next year. That team is in no position to be buying. I understand they only gave up a second round pick. They're not a team that should be getting at the deadline. They were supposed to be playoff candidates this season with Justin Fields. And clearly, that has not worked very well.
Yeah.
So the expectations in Chicago were high. And these guys' heads are on the chopping block right now. They go out and get a guy who has more sacks individually than their entire team. And Montez Sweat is a good player. He's not going to move that needle enough to really get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trade's fine. In a vacuum, the trade is fine. Especially so, I think I'm fine with it for the Bears if he signs an extension. But without that, it's kind of a head scratcher. Like you said, it kind of seems like can't save jobs here. It just doesn't make sense unless he signs that extension. Because as we look at the standings, they do win out and make the playoffs. But to win out is kind of hard. Some might say. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird move.
Yeah, a very weird move.
You see, NFC East got worse.
The Eagles were buyers at the deadline. They got safety, Kevin Byard, all-pro safety, Kevin Byard, from the Titans. NFC East got better.
You've given 3 examples of worse, 1 example of better.
I've given 3 examples of what would have happened in the offseason, and 1 example of better. You win.
Yeah. Let's do the math. Alright, what else happened here?
What else happened here?
Nothing?
Josh McDaniels, Raiders head coach. No longer Raiders head coach.
Notable 3-5 team as well.
Notable person who has been fired many a times from head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels was the head coach in Denver. Did not work. He then was hired to be the head coach in Indianapolis and said, "Nah, actually I changed my mind," and left them standing at the altar. They had a press conference and everything set up for this man. He did not show up. And now he's gone to the Raiders, made it less than 2 seasons, just like he did with the Broncos, and been fired. They've replaced him with their QB coach. I don't understand why people keep hiring from the Bill Belichick tree.
So Jeremy, here's the question. This is the real question.
Yeah.
Who does he get fired from next?
He's going back to the Patriots. He's going to be their offensive coordinator again.
And then where is he going? And then he's going to get another job because
And then he's going to become the head coach of the Patriots once Bill Belichick retires.
And then he gets fired.
And then he'll last a year and a half. He'll get fired. And he'll go to Alabama.
Okay. Sounds good. I like this. That was what was really on my mind. All right.
And he'll be the offensive coordinator.
So now what next for the Raiders?
The Raiders? They're in a weird spot because they're a team with talent. They just made a lot of weird decisions.
Yeah.
Like, they went out last season and they got Devontae Adams. Right? We're all in. We're competing.
Yep. You gotta have that chemistry with him in Carr. Yep.
It doesn't work. What do we do now? get Carr out of here, get one of our best offensive weapons, Darren Waller, out of here, and replace him with a rookie tight end and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
You still have Devontae Adams here. This is still a great team.
Yeah.
Or, this is still a team with a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
They've just pulled themselves in 4 different directions at once. And I don't know what to do from here for them. They're kind of in a no man's land right now. This is like the place you don't want to be as a franchise.
Yeah, I mean that, and they've already benched Jimmy G.
Aiden O'Connell, QB1.
Which, that's not necessarily the greatest look for Jimmy G. I don't know, man. It'll be. This is where they went out, This is where they moneyball it,
That would be the most Raider thing to do.
Yeah.
Because this is what happened last time. They had to fire their coach mid-season. The John Gruden email stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had got an interim coach, and they made the playoffs. Writes itself.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna fire that interim coach.
Yeah.
And replace him with someone that is bad.
Yeah. Who can we replace him with?
Who can we replace him with?
Ron Rivera.
That's totally something they would do. Because all reports are Ron Rivera is all but out in Washington right now. And
yeah, I mean,
Eric Bieniemy is head coach in everything but title, apparently. So, Rick Riverboat Ron. But
going to the Raiders.
He's going to the Raiders.
You get the Raiders, Ron, Rivera. I mean, it's writing's on the wall here. I don't even know how I had to be the one to connect these dots. Yeah.
No, but that's about it that happened at the trade deadline here. The other major stuff that's happening in the NFL here, right? There's they've been doing these international games, right? And they've had, the Jaguars, a solid team. They've played 2 international games, but this week, the international game is Dolphins versus the Chiefs. In Germany. 9:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And people are angry. People are like, why would you schedule a game like that to be in Germany? Why? I don't understand, first of all, why people are that angry.
I mean, I don't know, man. People like their rhythm, like having a game, at night.
They have a game
in the day. It's just, and it's like that blockbuster. People are like, man, it's at 9:30. That's like when I'm at church or asleep or something. I don't want to miss the footballs. And now they're in this predicament. Do I wake up early? Do I skip this activity? Or do I watch the footballs?
Well, there's clearly a right answer here.
Yeah, do whatever makes you happy.
Yep, that's the one.
You'd rather sleep than sleep. Sleep's that important.
And it's clearly to boycott the NFL. How dare they?
How dare they?
Make me make a decision on a Sunday.
Right? Come on. It's a day of rest.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be able to sleep in until 12:30.
Wake up, put on Red Zone, and sit on my couch for the next 8 hours.
Yeah. It's my God-given right.
instead, you gotta get that 9:30 to watch football. It's a good matchup, though.
It is, and that's why people are angry. Because they wouldn't care if this was Jaguars-Falcons again. But because it's Dolphins-Chiefs, they're like, how dare you put a good game overseas?
It's prime time.
It's prime time. It is prime time.
Who wins this game?
Who wins this game?
Yeah.
I'm going with the Chiefs here.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins have proven multiple times that when they play a good opponent, or an elite opponent, let me put it at that, because they've played some good teams and beat them. But when they play an elite opponent, it just doesn't go well. They got blown out by the Bills, got blown out by the Eagles, and now they're going to play the Chiefs. This is a game the Dolphins need to win.
Yep.
If they want to prove they can hang with the big boys. But I'm not too sure about how this game will go.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing that I kind of take into consideration here would be jet lag.
Chiefs were over there early. No?
I think they left Friday. So yesterday, I believe the Dolphins were over there practicing early. So maybe things swing the other way. What I will say is really the important decision here on how we know if the Chiefs will do well is if Taylor Swift is in attendance.
It's true.
But when she's there, they do well. When she's not there, they do bad. And as we know, if thing happen and then the other thing happen, it must be true.
Yeah, causation does equal correlation.
Yeah. That's what I just said. Use the fancy words.
Yeah, that's something we established on the show last week.
Yes.
Always. Constantly. But yeah. So, she won't be there probably. I don't think she's gonna fly to Germany. Unless. Is Taylor Swift gonna be at the Chiefs game? She might. She might not. She probably won't.
She will.
You bring up a good point, Hayden.
That's what I'm here for. I bring up the good points.
Alright,
Taylor Swift, Ron Rivera. Yes.
Dream couple.
That really, right there, that would break the internet.
Alright, Hayden, but before, I know you gotta get out of here in a second. But before you do, the 8-0, 23rd ranked James Madison University Dukes in the AP poll, are heading to Atlanta to play Georgia State this week. Now, this game is probably the hardest one left on their schedule. There was a little bit of concern after last week's game, at least for me, with the way that Old Dominion played against them. I know that's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
How does JMU bounce back in this game? What do you think's happening here? What's your prognostication?
I mean, a lot of the things from watching the game, it was just like bad mistakes kind of cost them a lot of turnovers and stuff. Am I remembering this correctly?
There weren't a lot of turnovers. There were some. There were 2 interceptions. The first one was fluky.
Yeah, no, the entire game felt a little fluky. Just on both sides.
And then the second
in that first half.
Yeah.
Second half it kind of, mellowed out a little bit. I don't know. I mean, they just gotta do what they do best. I think their run game is pretty strong. I think I saw they had 2 top 10 wide receivers in college football last week. So if you do that again, you might do pretty well. And I think the defense just had an uncharacteristically bad night. Struggling with that one today. I think the defense, I mean, their strong suit right heading into that game was run defense, and then they allowed the most run yards allowed.
They were averaging, I think, 30 yards a game given up.
And they allowed like well over 100.
They had 2 players on Old Dominion go over 75.
Yeah,
I believe.
Like it was a solid amount over 100. Which that's not good when like you're kind of, that's a big identity of that JMU team is their run defense. I'm not too worried. I think, as long as the run defense kind of shows up again, we'll be good. I have a question for you.
Yes.
They lose this game, are they ranked still?
No.
Yeah, okay. Now we're on the same page there.
If they lose any game, they're not ranked.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's this game, the first game of the season, second game, they're not ranked if they lose a game. That's just the nature of being in a not Power 5 school.
Yeah.
That's the nature of being in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
You have to be undefeated to be ranked. At least this season. Next season, JMU's been ranked 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You see a team like Tulane, for example, they're Group of 5 school. Actually, they might have just moved up. No, they're still a Group of 5 school.
Okay.
They're a Group of 5 school, but they have a loss, and they're still ranked.
Mm-hmm.
And they're there because they've
been there.
They have name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that JMU does not quite have yet. Now, definitely JMU is building that. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, they need to continue to build that.
Mm-hmm.
They need to this is probably the most vital year for the program. These transition years have been really vital because it's drawn a lot of eyes and attention and name recognition. They need to keep this up for a couple years. They need to keep this up for a couple more years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think in part a good thing with that is a lot of their players are pretty young. They're key guys.
Breaking news. Speaking of, from a little bit ago, Montez Sweat has just signed a 4-year extension.
Yeah, I like to trade them
with the Chicago Bears.
How much?
4 years, $98 million.
Is that a lot?
That is a lot. That is a lot of money.
That's yeah.
24 and a half a year.
I think I saw they were gonna have to go over 20 to get him. So
yeah, $98 million in new money. Total deal's 105.
Is he overpaid?
Yes, but they were gonna have to overpay him.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, Mr. Sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I forgot where we were. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, we were just talking about the team.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest concern to me, aside from the run defense, and it wasn't even that bad. They just let up 2 big runs.
Mm.
But the biggest concern was, I'm worried that that's a blueprint that other teams can follow.
Yeah.
Because Old Dominion wasn't doing anything special. They ran stack on either side with 2 receivers or 3 receivers, and they would just constantly throw a screen pass until the safety bit one of those times, and then they hit us over the top.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. That's how they score all their touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little concerned that other teams are going to see that, and they're going to be like, that's how we beat them. We do that. And that's not a hard thing to do. That's something that's super easy to run.
Mm-hmm.
ODU's not a great team.
They're solid.
They're not a great team. But it was a little concern.
Yeah. No, I remember what I was saying. I was just saying that Jamie's young. I think they only have on their starters. Obviously, McLeod, but a lot of them are younger. Either redshirt juniors or freshmen and sophomores. So there's very few seniors. on this team. So I think they'll be good for a many years.
Yeah. It's so vital that, it's vital for any team that isn't a Power 5 school to get that name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in a spot where, right now, this is the time where they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
2 years in a row they've been ranked, you know? There's a rallying cry around them this season that's probably going to die because they're not ranked anymore in the college football playoff rankings.
Well, they're not ranked because
they can't.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just they need to keep this up at least to next season, at the very least, because that's when they can be ranked in these college football rankings, and that's when they can, be in that final season poll, which I think is so vital, because that's what a lot of people are like. Oh, remember them? They were good last year. They look at the final poll, stuff like that. So very important.
Mm-hmm.
But they can do it. I believe in them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hayden has to get out of here. So, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy.
Bye.
Bye.
This is just me. As we've reached the top of the hour here on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, the host of this Triple Threat show. That was Hayden Raymer. He was here. Thank you for him for coming down. What we're going to do for the rest of this show, we're going to break down this NFL schedule. We're going to go game by game, and we're going to, without a doubt, give you the most accurate, the most correct, the most never wrong predictions that you have ever heard. Now, last show we started a segment, who's worse? We're gonna do a little different this time. We already broke down the Dolphins Chiefs a little bit. The Dolphins 6-2, Chiefs 6-2. This one in Frankfurt. The Dolphins just haven't beaten an opponent solid enough for me to really believe that they can beat a team like the Chiefs this season. Looking at the teams that they have beat, they beat the Chargers. It's a pretty okay team. They beat the Patriots, not very good. Destroyed the Broncos, putting up 70 points on them, obviously. And that is also not a very good team. They beat the Giants, not a very good team. And then they beat the Panthers. And the Patriots again. Not a very good team. They have not beaten a good team. So this is going to be another real test, and I think they have to. I think they have to win it to really be taken seriously. The Chiefs. I know they just came off a loss to the Broncos, but you're going to lose to a team eventually. I think they can handle it. Next game up, the 5-2 Seattle Seahawks heading into Baltimore to take on the 6-2 Baltimore Ravens with MVP candidate Lamar Jackson on the other sideline. Now, we take a look at this matchup. We talked a little bit about the Seahawks. They obviously got Leonard Williams there at the trade deadline. That's going to be huge against a Raven team that likes to run. Gus Edwards just went off for 3 touchdowns. And Lamar Jackson is doing Lamar Jackson things. This one, I'm siding with the Ravens here because of simply Lamar Jackson. Hayden mentioned that Geno Smith, while he's playing solid, he's not doing the Geno stuff he did last year, which was not expected of him. Teams have more time to have film on him. They're going to figure him out a little more. It is still Geno Smith after all. But Lamar Jackson is special. This is going to be a really good game. I am giving the nod to the Baltimore Ravens, though. Next game. The Cleveland Browns taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Arizona Cardinals just traded Josh Dobbs to the Minnesota Vikings in wake of Kirk Cousins tearing his ACL, or Achilles, tearing his Achilles, leaving rookie Clayton Tune, to start the game. Now, he has one pass in his career for 4 yards. He will be facing off against Deshaun Watson, who has not been fully healthy and has not been good straight up since coming back to football. Now, the Arizona Cardinals are not a good team, and I think that the Cleveland defense on its own could probably win this game. For that reason, I am picking the Browns here. That defense is too good with Myles Garrett. He's going to eat on Sunday. It is going to be borderline unfair with what he's going to do on Sunday. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be much of a game. I don't think the Browns' offense is going to have to do much of anything. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, I can't believe in this Clayton Tune guy. Need to see what he can do. Next game is a little more interesting here. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Houston Texans. Now, C.J. Stroud has been really, really solid so far in his rookie campaign. He's thrown for 1,800 yards, 9 touchdowns to just the 1 interception. He obviously went on that streak. I think it was second longest streak to begin a career of pass attempts before throwing an interception. This one honestly could go either way. But with the Texans at home, I'm leaning that way. I know they're coming off a bad game, but this team is good enough, or C.J. Stroud, I believe, can carve up this defense. If they're going to win, it's going to be in a shootout. I don't trust the Texans' defense to be able to handle Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and these guys. This is going to be either going to be a Bucs blowout or a Texans close win. Moving on, we've got Bears Saints. Now, we were just talking about the Bears a little bit. Obviously, they just traded for and extended Montez Sweat at 4-year, $105 million deal. But the Bears defense has been really bad. And like I was saying earlier, I don't think that trade's going to move the needle enough. Alvin Kamara's been back, and he's added a new element, I guess, to that Saints offense. He's been a check down merchant. He's been out here catching, I believe, 13 balls a game, or something crazy like that. He already has the NFL lead for running backs for receptions. And against this Bears defense that has been one of the worst against running backs in the entire league, I think he's gonna run wild on them. Not to mention that receiving core: Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. I mean, Derek Carr is gonna get them the ball if he can. And that's going to be the real thing. If Montez Sweat can be disruptive and really change that Bears defense, they have a shot. I believe Justin Fields will be starting in that game again. He at least came back to practice. Now, Tyson Bagent has been pretty solid. He won a game, and then against a lackluster Chargers unit, it didn't go as well. But I don't know. I think the Saints are going to take this game pretty handily. I just am not a believer in the Bears. And one of the more interesting games of the week. Up next, Minnesota Vikings, as we mentioned before, just traded for Josh Dobbs. He will be their starter. Josh Dobbs has been pretty solid this year, honestly. Josh Dobbs with Arizona, he's made those games competitive. He hasn't been able to push them over the edge, but he's kept them competitive. In that Ravens game last week, he got them all the way down to that one possession mark, or as close as he could. Recovered that onside kick. He beat the Cowboys. He's kept it close against almost every team they've played this season. A lot closer than they should have, at least. So you get him with some better weapons. Obviously, Justin Jefferson isn't healthy yet, but when he comes back, that's going to be a team that, they're not going to challenge the Lions for the division, but they could challenge for that 7 seed, and he has taken on the man, the myth, the legend, Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke, for those that haven't been paying that much attention, all he does is win football games. He will get in there, win you a game in the ugliest way possible. He doesn't have the arm strength, really, or the accuracy to be a, starter. But he has that it factor. Whatever. He's got that competitive edge or whatever it is. He's got something about him. He's got that clutch cheat. That in a close game, he's going to do what it takes to put you over the edge. Now, if it's a blowout, you're not going to be able to get that from him. But you give me a list of quarterbacks I'd take to lead a game-winning drive right now in the NFL. He's top 5. No, top 5 is too much. He's top 10 on my list. Which is an insane thing to say, because he is not a top 10 quarterback. But he's got what it takes in that situation. He's got some kind of magic. So, this is a game that could go either way. I'm going to go with the Falcons here, just because Josh Dobbs still needs to learn that new system. This is going to be a gritty game. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be grinded out type situation. But I'm going to lean Falcons a little bit on this one. Whew. Got a couple more games to break down. Up next, the Los Angeles Rams heading into Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers who have been struggling. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with not having a healthy Aaron Jones. When Jordan Love has looked his best, which was in the first couple weeks of the season, he had a guy like Aaron Jones to be able to take some pressure off of it, to be able to be explosive out there, and he just has not been healthy enough to do that since week 1. Now the Rams, we talked about it, they're either going to be contenders one week or they're going to be bottom feeders, and we don't know what kind of week they're going to have, especially with Matt Stafford questionable. Not sure if he's even going to play. If he plays, I think the Rams will take this game. But if he doesn't, it's not going to happen. And I think a lot of this has to do with, like I said, Aaron Jones. He should play. He's not on the injury report currently. He needs to have a good game for the Packers to win. And I think even if Matthew Stafford plays, if he can go off, then I believe the Packers will still win this game. Aaron Jones is what's going to make or break that game on Sunday. Next game on the docket, the Washington Commanders who have traded away their defense, taking on the New England Patriots. Now, both of these teams are struggling, but the one strength of that Washington team was its pass rush. The secondary has been an issue all season. They got torched by the Giants. They got torched by Tyrod Taylor. If you are a secondary, that can't happen. The Giants passed for negative yards last week. They passed for negative 8 yards last week. And the Patriots, I mean, as bad as they've been this season, on offense especially, they've always just, I can never just write off a Bill Belichick-led team. This is the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to handle this pretty easily. And then, on top of that, I think Ron Rivera will get fired immediately following the game. We've already had the first coach go. That usually starts some kind of domino effect. You never want to be the first one to fire a coach, but once it's done, it's free for all. Speaking of the coach that just got fired, the New York Giants are heading to Las Vegas. They are taking on the Raiders. Now, I'm tempted just to pick the Raiders straight up, outside of everything else, because of the fact that they have an interim coach. And you always win the first game under an interim coach. But I'd pick the Raiders either way. Daniel Jones is back. I'm not sure if he's 100%. I feel like he's forced back with Tyrod out and being left with just Tommy DeVito. But the Raiders probably are just a better team. I know Aiden O'Connell is starting. That Giants defense took a huge blow losing Leonard Williams. And I know they weren't competing for anything. But losing Leonard Williams there, it really weakens that pass rush. Who, solid. A'Shawn Robinson is going to be that replacement. He's not Leonard Williams. He's not going to be able to take up the same amount of space, create the same amount of havoc that Leonard Williams does for that team. And they still have a really, really good pass rush. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best in the entire league up the middle. You have Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, all these guys coming off the edge. It's still a good pass rush. And then Saquon. Saquon is there. I'm talking myself into the Giants, aren't I? Oh, yeah, I am. Darren Waller is out, and that's a big blow. He's their leading receiver. But I'm talking myself into the Giants. No, I'm not going to do it. Aiden O'Connell is going to take this win. The Raiders are going to beat the Giants. That's what I'm doing. I hate to do it. It's going to happen. We have 4 games remaining to pick here. Let me tell you about the next one. Colts, Panthers. Colts 3-5. Panthers coming off the first win of their season. Coming off the first win of Bryce Young's career. The Colts are another team kind of like the Rams, where they go up and down. 1 week they look really solid, and then the next week they just can't do anything. But that's to be expected with the Colts. That's the kind of stage they're in, especially with a guy like Gardner Minshew, who is a solid quarterback. He's a lot like Taylor Heineke in that fact that he's probably a little better than Taylor Heineke, but, he's solid. He's not going to do anything over the top, but he's solid. But I'm taking the Panthers on this one. It was a huge momentum win for the Panthers last week, and Bryce Young continued to look more and more comfortable in the NFL. Adam Thielen has been huge on that team. And I just think the Colts are going to have one of those stinkers. So, I'm taking the Panthers to beat the Colts in this game. The last game in the 4 o'clock window is the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. And I've heard a lot of talk about this game like it's going to be close. And I understand that the Cowboys have a great defense. I do. But people are talking like the Cowboys are a better team than the Eagles are. And that just isn't true. Right? The Eagles have proven they were struggling a little bit in the season, but they've proven that they're the best team in the NFL right now. They have that defense that is playing not to the level that it was last year, but it's still an elite defense. They have an unstoppable play. I mean, no other team in the league has an unstoppable play. They have an unstoppable play. And Jalen Hurts is so good at football. I don't get it. I think it's a lot of Cowboy hype. Just overhype on the Cowboys. The Eagles should probably handle this one. It's in Philly. That's another thing. So, I'm giving this game to the Eagles. Final game on Sunday. Bills-Bengals Sunday Night Football. Joe Burrow looks like he's all the way back. The Bills made some moves at the deadline to improve. They went out and they got Rasul Douglas from the Packers to replace Tre'Davious White, who went down. This is a must-win game for both of these teams. Obviously, I'm taking the Bengals in this game. Joe Burrow looks like he's all the way back, and that's really what was holding them back this season. I'm very excited. Last time these two teams matched up on Sunday Night Football, obviously the Damar Hamlin incident happened. He's back healthy, fortunately. He might even play in this game. So there's going to be a lot of attention on that. But I think the Bengals are going to take this. The Bills' defense isn't quite good enough, and Josh Allen hasn't played mistake-free football yet this season. Yeah, that Bengals defense is really good. And Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow duo it's back. So, I think the Bengals take care of business here. And I think that might put the Bills in danger in the playoffs. Maybe. The AFC is stacked. I won't go that far yet. But final game of Week 9. The Chargers are going to New York to take on the Jets on Monday Night Football. The Jets coming off an ugly win against the New York Giants. And the Chargers coming off a blowout of the Bears. The Jets obviously have a much better defense, and the Chargers have a much better offense. These two teams are basically the inverse of each other. So this really comes down to which unit plays better. The Chargers' defense or the Jets' offense. Because whichever one of those units plays better is going to win that game. Because the defense is going to do its thing for the Jets, and the offense is going to do its thing for the Chargers. That's probably going to even itself out. It's whoever wins that battle on the other side that's gonna win this game. And I just don't trust the Jets. That being said, yeah, I just don't trust the Jets. Their offensive line is too banged up. They lost multiple guys to injury last week. Oh, breaking news. We have a trade in baseball. The Brewers have traded Mark Canha to the Detroit Tigers for Blake Holland. That move doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The last thing that the Brewers needed was pitching. And Mark Canha is... I mean, he's solid, but... I don't know. Ugh. Alright, well, that happened. I'm not a fan. But, they did it. Congratulations to them. Back to the Chargers-Jets. I just don't think that the Jets' offensive line is healthy enough to stand up to that pass rush. You got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, who's had a pretty solid season coming off the edge. I just don't think that offensive line is going to be able to handle them. So, for that reason, I am taking the Los Angeles Chargers to win Monday Night Football. Alright. While we are here to close out the show, let's take a look at some live games here. The college football slate obviously has started at the same time as our show as usual. Let's take a look at some scores. Just taking a look at the top 25. Number 1 team, Ohio State, is only up 7-3 at Rutgers. Rutgers is at the Ohio State 3. It is 4th and goal there. They're probably going to take the field goal 2 minutes to go until halftime. This game is a lot closer, at least right now, than a lot of people thought it should be. This game, I mean, Rutgers has been playing really solid this season, but it's been all their running game, and that Ohio State defense is crazy. I'll have to see what happens here. But I have to imagine that they kick a field goal to make it a 1-point game heading into halftime. Texas is up big on Kansas State. 17-0 here. Another surprise here. Clemson is up by 15 on Notre Dame. A Notre Dame team that has played some really, really tough opponents, some really big football against a Clemson team that has done the exact opposite. Played a couple tough opponents and lost to all of them. Yeah, that is a minute 32 to go until halftime there. And Tennessee is up big. 28-3 on UConn. There are no Sun Belt games going on right now. So yeah, Rutgers has kicked the field goal, 7-6, 2 minutes to go until halftime. With that, I would like to thank everybody so much for tuning into this episode of the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of the Triple Threat Show. I was joined here earlier today by Hayden Raymer. You can check out all our previous episodes, all our previous shows, on YouTube at The Triple Threat Show. Check us out on Twitter at 3Threat Show and on Instagram at Triple Threat Show. We will be back next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.